All Eyes on Fishing with Mitch Peterson, Josh Sheldon, and Brad Qualley, leading you to the next level.
Everybody, welcome back to All Eyes on Fishing. Got a good episode we're going to talk about tonight. We've had actually quite a few people talking about this, and it's transition fishing, because that's where we're at right now in
Best
Colorado.
time of year.
Oh my God!
I feel like it better in spring.
I don't know. Settle down.
Well, I was.
You know what I like? I like every time I get to go out, because you're always excited.
Yeah.
Because when spring's coming, you're like, oh yeah, here we go.
Right.
With summer, oh my God, the live bait
Favorite time of the year.
Dude, spring is like going out with that super religious chick in high school, right? You get a little kiss, and then you nothing on your, and then you go on another date, and you might get another little kiss, and then nothing. That's like what April's like. You get a little, maybe you get a nice walleye.
There's still, hey, dude, but
and then by May, you're holding hands and getting a kiss. But by June, right, you're in the back seat of the grandpa's Ford and you're having a great time. That's what it's like. Now it's the opposite. Now you start out in the back seat, and then it kind of winds down towards November, December.
I don't know about it. But we know what's on Josh.
All I'm saying is,
for spring, though, I mean, you get the chance to catch pigs.
Well, now too.
Yeah, but
you just saw a pig caught yesterday or 2 days ago.
I know, when we were out on the water. Yes, you can, but you're also going through a lot of fish. But anyway, let's talk about.
Oh my gosh, poor you! We're going through a lot of fish. Those days in April where you get 128 incher and you patrol around for the next 8 hours and get nothing.
Mm-hmm. No, I know what you mean. I'm just saying. When you said it's the best time.
Well, I think it is. So I used to be the world's worst fall fisherman. I hate it, and I've said it on this podcast 50 times probably. I hated fall fishing because I wasn't good at it, and I didn't understand it. I didn't have a boat, which is, I think, a game changer when there's that word, right? I hate that. Game changer. But I
early morning, though, you still casting from shore.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where I was like, or late, or at night, evening, we're getting them now. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I just wasn't good at it. Man, once I started to figure out how to fall fish, right, and then jig and wraps and things like that started to change it as well. Yeah, I can't think of a better time. I mean, so you guys were out this weekend. Great example, mm-hmm. right? And you're still catching fish in a summer pattern of casting jigs, dragging jigs, right?
With a crawler. Just a leadhead
right?
jig with a half crawler.
But then the guys that you're with catch one on a blade bait, casting shallow, mm-hmm. and working a blade bait. Yep. I mean, so there's all these different ways. Shallow, you guys were a little bit deeper. You can
guys were pulling cranks around us.
Pulling cranks and catching fish, I'm sure. So there's all those different ways they're still catching fish. It's still kind of a summer pattern. They're starting to school up a little bit, but not quite as much.
Still scattered.
Yeah.
I mean, they were. It's crazy because when we were out 3 weeks ago, it was the water temperature was like 71.
Yep, right there.
Yesterday, 2 days ago, 58.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah, so it's starting to come down, right?
It is. And any time you start dropping below 60, you're like, oh, here we go, because it's going to be, you start seeing the fish start to group up. You're going to start finding them
up and sitting on structure. And
you're going to, if you're in a boat, we're just going to talk boats tonight, or do you want to talk shorts?
No,
just talk boats. So, because that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So, you're going to see, just driving around on your graphs, all of a sudden you're going to see just a pile of them.
Yeah, just
10, 20, 30, just
yep.
wham, all hung out on one break or up on one flat.
The 30 you can see, but there's probably 130 because you can't,
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So we were looking for that, of course, because you're thinking 58. That's number's kind of a magic 60, mm-hmm. right? And we were at 58.3 or 58.7, I don't remember, but still, right there. And so we go to our first spot. We call it Buoy 3. I mean, we make up all our own names. You know where that is.
Because unbelievable.
This one's actually the third buoy.
Yeah. This one actually is what it says.
But even when the buoys aren't there, we'll go to Buoy 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you have to know, is it Buoy 3 from the right or Buoy 3 from the left?
And that's the secret we
there
want.
You go.
And what buoy system.
And these two come up with the
buoy
goofiest
system.
names. Yeah.
Yes, because I can say, let's meet you over at Buoy 3. Mitch would show right up there. Hey,
yeah.
What time?
Yeah. These guys can't. Yeah, these guys.
If I'm not going to be there, I'll be over at BK. Got it.
Yeah. They catch
Mandy's Highway. Well,
or Babbitt Mountain.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they catch a fish in March, and they're like, "What are we going to call this? Let's call it Leprechaun Lane." All right, Leprechaun Lane.
Yeah, Leprechaun Lane's coming. But anyway, so we get to Buoy 3, and we know typically this is when you're going to start seeing fish stage at that 60 mark. Well, we get there and we're like, they're not stacked up. So we drove around. There's a really nice break where we're at. It goes from, what would you say, Mitch? Probably that 22 up to 12 right there.
Yeah.
And pretty good transition.
Yeah, a pretty steep break,
It
too.
is pretty steep, yeah. I mean, within a couple boat links, you're going to be up on top. So we see a couple fish down in that 22, and right before you get to the 12, probably that 15 to 12, we see 3. We're like, they're starting to think about it. They just haven't figured it out. So, of course, we stop, and we start just vertical jigging.
Right.
And it wasn't a few minutes. I missed one. You caught one that was 17 right there.
Right.
The fish vanished.
Yeah.
We're using our active target to start looking for fish.
Which was an awesome trip, by the way. It was the best, action shots I've seen.
Well, because that is a whole that we've talked about game changer, right? I don't know.
Did you have it pointed out or down?
It was straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we were doing is we caught quite a few fish. I mean, nothing great, but we were finding small little pockets of fish, like 3, 4.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were jigging them, vertical jigging them, and then I put the target straight in front of me, and just drove with my trolling motor, backed up off the brake, and shot it to where now I can see the brake exactly. And we just worked that brake, and all of a sudden, there's a pod of a couple. Then we cast them fish.
Yeah. Oh, you're casting them.
Yeah, we were casting to them too. We're like, okay, they're 40 feet out, about 5 degrees off to the right. Let's get them.
Yeah.
And so we were casting for the fish and finding some active fish doing that. Well, they were scattering. They weren't sticking around.
Yeah.
So then we went to another part of the lake that's deeper, because we've had some really good success in that 30, 35 feet of water when they start staging out there. You know what I'm talking about, where you start using the jig and wraps.
Yeah.
And
Our spring spot.
Oh, dude.
Basin.
Yeah.
Basin.
It was,
well, that's the
they weren't
Thanksgiving
there.
spot, too,
We
buddy.
saw a couple fish there. That was it.
Yep.
So we didn't even, we fished it for about 5 minutes, but it was like, there are no fish there. So they haven't moved there yet. So we went to one other spot. There was people there. So we came back and went to our original location, and then just that general area. And when we got there, we said, let's just keep going, because this part of the lake has a bunch of transition spots, like dugout holes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's like gravel. Well, gravel.
Of course.
pits
Well,
as
of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's perfect. So we're driving with the active target looking forward at like 0.3. And I'm, there's fish. Slow it down, anchor lock, cast to them, fine. Fish, yes, no, if they go. And then scattered. You just keep driving until we found fish, stopped 40 feet away, cast them. It was awesome.
Yep.
You know, it just hit me. Is that your first time in the new boat?
No.
Oh, you? I haven't even got to sit in it in the driveway.
No way.
You were invited. You just
Sterling tournament.
Oh, that's right. You got to do Sterling. I forgot.
Matt drove.
Yeah, that's right.
everything.
That's right. Yep, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, you got it the first. Yeah, that's true. How was it?
Oh, the Merc is super nice.
Whatever.
You should hear it.
Big,
does.
loud,
thing
loud
fires.
ass.
The Pro SX, it's so awesome. When it starts up, it's like, I'm going. Let's go. What are we waiting for? That's everything. You're like, Jesus.
Ready.
Yeah, that's how loud
It's
you
like
have
a
to
football
talk
hunting.
over
Ready?
it.
Break.
Yeah.
Omaha. You got to have your Omaha.
But anyway, so we talked
That's
about.
how loud you have to talk over that thing.
we talked about, because this time of year it's really good for casting, blade baits, or jig and wraps, shiver minnows, or whatever.
Yep.
Perfect for that.
Yep, ripping wraps.
We ended up long lining, at times just dragging the flats.
Yeah.
And getting,
Because they're still so scattered.
we're scattered.
Yep.
They were very scattered.
So when we were searching for fish, we're still fishing. So that's one thing, that if you're fishing like a flat, even if it's 12 feet deep, long line that baby out the back with a jig and just work. Unless it's super rocky, but this is kind of gravel, that 1-2 inch gravel to sand. Yeah. So we can drag that and just pop it. Well, we're looking for active fish, and we picked up a couple just dragging jigs and pumping it every once in a while, and because those fish are way behind us, they're like we have like 150 feet of line up. I mean, it's like trolling jigs at 0.3. Then when we find fish, reel in, hit anchor lock, cast.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I noticed when we went a couple weeks ago, and we were doing the same thing. Trying to use the active target, is we were coming up on pods of fish, good pods of fish, right? Like it looked like there were a few more, right? When I say a few, we see 5 or 6 coming up off the bottom, but still they were active and coming up, way up, and going back down. They were scattering quick. Like we would get a couple fish or a couple casts in to where they were, and poof, gone.
Yeah, we were running.
You should have seen his jig, how bright it was and perfect.
Really? So that's interesting because I can't get mine to show up as that great.
So he was jigging,
vertical.
jigging.
Yeah, vertical I can do it, but out,
no.
I can't get it to show up as bright as I've seen others get it. And I don't know if it's a setting I have, but vertical, I can see it vertical.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like put it in their face.
It's almost like fishing like a flasher.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's better even. It's cool. It's more dialed in.
Yeah, I was jigging. I go, I can go down about 6 more inches. Let's get this right down on the bottom.
Yeah.
And get going. Well, that's it. That's the interesting piece is I was, my thoughts are definitely moving more towards the spoons and all that stuff. And when we went out there, you guys were like, ooh, it's dragon, dragon meat. And I'm like, man, I don't know.
We were really talking about,
because I did the spoons, I did the Strata spoon and the jigging wraps and stuff, and
I
abandoned that fairly quickly.
I had something hit me like a ton of bricks when we were using it out there, but I'm going to save that for the next level.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's good stuff.
What a tease!
Oh, just wait.
No, but
we'll talk. It's pretty good.
We'll talk a little bit about our why we decided to stay with jigs in the next level, and why we didn't go over. With blade baits and things like that.
Well, and it's going to happen quick. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and this week has been our coolest week here. We've had cold rain, and
it's low 40s every night.
Yeah, it's been low 40s, and it's and the days are in the 60s, and it's going to be for the rest of the week. I think the transition is going to happen quick. I think if we go fishing this weekend, I think that jig bite might be adios.
No, I think so too.
I know.
Yep. And in fact, I got a little intel from Creek, and I think Creek might be grouped up more.
They might be because it's a shallower lake.
Well, somebody was out there fishing. They told me they hit all the spots and nothing, and boom, then they found them. They were all there,
stacked in.
40, 50 fish.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's what you're looking for during the true transition. Yep. But we're right there. So if you guys are in your body of water, once you start seeing that 60 and a little bit lower, and this time of year, I mean, it's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. They start migrating to each other.
Yeah.
Right? They do. They start grouping up.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, Josh. I think we're a week, maybe 2 out from that. And it could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that close.
Yeah. And I know you like this. You think the 60. I think it's actually a little bit closer to 50 is the maximum.
I do too. But that's 60 is when we start looking at it.
Yeah.
Because you'll start to find them.
If 58 is the top of the range, like during the midday heating, you get up to 58, but you're starting out around 50, 51. I think that's when it's.
Oh, for sure. I'm not going to disagree with that at all.
Yeah, go at it. Go at it.
I just know that the typical transition when you're talking spring, you're like, dude, once that hits 40, we know the spawn's going to start happening right around there. So the same thing with fall. When that water temperature was 2 weeks ago in the low 70s, and 2 weeks later, maybe 3, it's
amazing how fast
it goes down in the high 50s to at 60. Yeah. You're like, oh, any minute now they're going to start staging.
You noticed what happened a couple of weeks ago. I went out at night or early morning, the sun wasn't up yet going to work, and I was like, oh, feels like it's during the day. It was still so warm at night.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it's like, whoo, boy, brisk. So our nights are getting so much
Well, we're getting less daylight, too. Yeah, I mean, what is it, 12 minutes a day or something like that, or 8 minutes, something like that we're losing every day. Is it 2?
I don't know.
It's something like that. Anyways, but still, it's, we've talked about this with spring, right? It's that transition. It's not necessarily always the temperature.
It's the amount of light. Daylight. Yeah.
And we are losing daylight like crazy, and we have heard, and we haven't gone out yet, but we've heard that the night bite is going in a lot of places. Yep. And I'm telling you,
last time we were out was like 5 weeks ago, and I think we were a little early.
Yeah, we were just a touch early, but still, it's, man.
Okay, Friday or Saturday night?
I'm in, man. Let's
Friday and Saturday?
No, let's pick one of them.
Okay.
I would like to.
We'll let you guys know what we decide.
Yeah, because I mean it's really we've got about 3 weeks of it, where you're going to roll out at just before dark and it's going to just be phenomenal.
We need to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We're going.
So
everybody else, you going? Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah. It's that time of year where you really, you can roll through a bunch of different presentations and figure it out. And And when you do figure it out, it's going to be lights out.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I like talking this transition, right? And we're still right there on the warmer side of the transition.
Still, yeah.
You know, and we stopped and grabbed crawlers.
But just like a
before
perfect example though, Creek is probably it's started, so it's lake dependent. It's not area,
right?
I mean, these lakes are only 8 miles apart, and one of them's probably about 7 degrees cooler.
And Creek's always faster in the spring. Creek
warms up
always
faster.
way
faster.
faster.
Yeah, it's because it maxes out
Weeks
at about
faster.
20. There's a couple holes, but mostly it's a 23-foot deep lake where Chatty has plenty of mid-30s.
Or deeper.
Well, normally, like we got crawlers. I was like, no, I'm throwing a jig. I'm dragging a jig. I'm fine with it. You know, that's what I felt was going to be the bite yet. But it's right on the edge to where, say, 2 more weeks, they're grouped up. If I go out and I'm throwing blades or jig and wrap, being more aggressive, that kind of more typical fall kind of deal.
Mimicking a shed.
Yeah. Hey, these next, especially in the earlier fall, like the month of October, I still have crawlers with me because I've done this a bunch too, where they don't want any of the blades and the hard baits like that, but then all of a sudden you throw a crawler and a jig and then they want that. Yeah. So it doesn't just turn off completely. So there's a time frame. You know, in November, I'm not going out with crawlers anymore. You know, But October, darn right, I want to have them.
You got to have.
It's interesting too that, and it's like this in the spring, and these are some of the similarities. But for us, I know the Midwest might be a little different with how much these minnows and stuff. But the bigger fish are coming on the worked baits, like whatever you're working, right? Jig and wrap, blade, something like that. Every the ones I've seen are all coming on worked baits.
Well, a lot of
we
that
caught the smaller fish dragging the meat and the jigs.
A lot of that has to do with the bait fish population, though, and them starting to die off because that's what you're mimicking when you're throwing like a blade.
But that's my point. Though,
but so
like
bigger,
but bigger fish are going after those worked bigger baits.
It was interesting to find bait fish too. The bait fish we never saw any surface bait fish.
Now, you know what? I haven't seen surface bait fish in that lake for a couple of years.
Oh, well, I mean, I've seen them a bunch.
In a couple of years, have you? Think, honestly, a couple of years ago, we all went in the fall a couple of times and could see. Remember, we could see them all by the boat ramp.
Oh, you're talking during fall. I was like, this summer I saw.
Oh no, I'm talking like the fall. And remember, you go down to Pueblo and it looked like somebody threw truckloads of glitter in the water. There'd be so many little dead shad floating around like that.
We didn't see any dead shad.
I didn't either. That's what I mean. It's been a couple of years. Do you remember that one time we went at night in the fall and we were by the boat ramp? And there were so much shad, and they were kind of plopping out of the top of the water and stuff. I haven't seen it like that in at least a couple.
Well, wasn't it probably a week or so ago? I don't remember who sent us a picture or called us or whatever it was. At Creek.
The shoreline. It was at Creek.
It was at Creek because that's how it gets colder. There was a ton of dead shad.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
On the shoreline.
Big or little?
All good size. That probably goes 2 to 3 inch.
Yeah. So
adult
the summer
size
ones.
shad.
The summer hatch, not the late summer hatch, but the early summer hatch.
Yeah, they were good size.
So, but again, a different lake.
But
And Creek has had better bake.
And we didn't see any. I didn't see one dead.
But
I think the shad population's down at Chatfield, and that's why the fishing's so good. But the fish are all
the
skinny.
other interesting part is all those smaller fish are skinny, right? They all look like they got eating disorders. But those big ones, when I see the big ones posted, and I see the big one you guys saw this weekend, big fat fish. I mean, it's like the haves and the have-nots, right? I mean, it's like the social classes.
I'm eating.
Yeah, these ones at the top, they're definitely eating because that fish, I mean, he said it was 29. That fish was 30 inches. It was just a skosh below.
Oh yeah,
30.
no, it would have registered.
Yeah, it would have registered 30 in the tournament,
and
it was fat. I mean, it was probably, I don't know, what do you guys say? I bet it was probably close to 20 inches round.
Oh, I have no idea how big the girth was.
But it was.
I don't think it was a good fish.
I don't think it was that fat, but it was big. It was nice.
Yeah.
It scaled out. I mean, on the conversion scale, 10.99.
Yeah,
that's a big
you would
fish.
not look at that fish and think it's unhealthy,
no,
thin or anything.
No, not at all. It was. I mean, it was. I thought it was.
I'm actually looking forward to fall fishing out there this year.
Yeah, because
I think it's setting up to be a good night.
It is.
Troll.
Is that thunder?
Mm-hmm.
It is thunder.
Yeah.
Lightning.
Well, I just it sounds like someone dragging their trash can out, like one of Brad's neighbors or something. But I'm like, what? Like,
that was yesterday.
Yeah. No, it's thunder, huh? It's crazy.
Anyway.
Well, if you guys hear any rumbling in the background, we're going to get a thunder.
It's just thunder.
I promise you.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
Thunder.
yeah, Mitch didn't have Mexican food for lunch. He's all right. We're just thunder. No, I think we definitely, squirrel our way over to the next level and start talking about those transitions, because that steep transition is an interesting.
Well, and then what we're using for different baits. I mean, we've talked about blade baits and all the different things we just talked about. But when and why and where we're going to try to use and how we're going to focus.
And
on
I think the spring, I think the fall, I don't think color matters almost at all.
Well, you know what? We've had that conversation regarding color all the time, and that's something we'll talk about in the next level too. So, hey, follow us over at the next level. We appreciate you listening to us. That's at AEOF.supercast.tech, where you're going to listen to your favorite episodes over at the next level. So, thanks a lot.
This has been All Eyes on Fishing. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe to The Next Level. And you can hear longer podcasts and more information on all of your favorite topics. And check us out at alleyesonfishing.com for apparel, blogs, and other information. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. All Eyes on Fishing, leading you to the next level.